Okay, hello, welcome back. Okay, first off, I am using a new microphone, so we'll see how well that one works with this video. And this is going to continue the discussion about government interference in controlled substances, dealing today mostly with marijuana. Now, this is a contract I personally created, essentially just to get a trophy. And I'm going to do this one because the thing about it is it's not the contract per se, it is the leaving here. I'm going to attempt to get an Easter egg that is a certain leaving Easter egg, which I think is appropriate to this particular contract, and we'll see how well I do. So let's go ahead and hit play. So as I talked previously on this topic about the prohibition, about alcohol, and we're going to deal with marijuana this time, and just a few comparisons first off before we get into the main meat of the mission, or main meat of this discussion. First off, they do have that similarity. They both were prohibited by the government. The difference is that with alcohol, prohibition actually took an amendment to the Constitution to enforce it, whereas the enforcement of marijuana was merely a law. And, yep, okay, here we are. This is pretty much the easiest contract in the world. So that's it. It's super easy. So, oh, that guy can spot me. So I'm going to... Now, the mission, my job, is to run around and gather ingredients to do this particular exit that I'm going to attempt to do. Second thing I want to talk about, and it's about marijuana in particular, and it's a similarity it has to alcohol, but people don't really think about it or acknowledge it, is this... Okay, so these guys are talking, so we're going to have to wait a second.
I just watched an interview with that billionaire presidential candidate last night. You know, the
anyway,
one with the famous hairdo.
One of the similarities that people don't think about is when they think about marijuana
such a refined academic
is they think it's a calming, relaxing thing, but the truth of the matter is that different people react to different substances in different ways. So, for example, certain people, when they get drunk, can get mean, can get very violent and angry when they're drunk, whereas other people get calmed down and are all very cool about it, and it's all good for them. And marijuana is very similar. There are people who do have violent reactions to it. It's not always a calming influence or a calming idea of it. It can be a very...
Look, a message to me on the bodyguard form. What kind of protection?
So we're going to drag this guy out of the way and dump him before anybody sees. And gonna climb through and hopefully just be... Okay, good. So let's drag him, put him in the closet, and get dressed in his clothes. But, like I said, people have different reactions to different stimuli. Okay, now I have to find the right thing. Okay, I believe it's right. Hallucinogenic drugs. So, basically, you need to pick up the hallucinogenic drugs here, because there's no way you can make this work without hallucinogenic drugs. And that's kind of the that's why we're doing this one, because you need to be on some sort of drug to be able to make this work. Anyway, yeah, people react differently to different stimuli. And in the case of drugs, they can have very, very different reactions from person to person. And some people might get very violent, and other people might be calmed down by a certain drug, including marijuana, which is generally considered to be a safe drug. So, yeah, just, be aware. If you're going to try a drug, and even going to go out and get drunk, be aware that it's not always the safest thing for you to be doing. Now, we're going to move on to kind of the topic while I go around gathering things that I might need. And the main thing I want to talk about here is dealing with, I need apricots as I go along too, is dealing with this,
Why the boss pick him? Why not Rhino?
the government regulations of it is we've actually entered into an interesting aspect of life here. Okay, so we need to pick up the quad bike keys or the four-wheeler as well, so that to make this work. If hopefully we can make it work right. Like I said, we're entering an interesting aspect in history that actually hasn't been done since before the Civil War. So it's a fairly old history. So a bit of a history lesson here before we get on to the modern drug thing. So prior to the Civil War, the government, basically state and federal government were very, very separate. Let's see, make sure nobody can see me in this general area. There's a guy over there. Okay, I'm good. So, for example, federal law was there and existed, but states did not have to enforce federal law. And indeed, oftentimes did not enforce federal law. Federal law itself would be ignored. And I'm trying to remember how many of these things I need. 10 or 12, and I can't remember exactly how many, so I'm going to be going around here picking up more apricots. So, and this led to some very unfortunate side effects, including persecution of people or groups of people. And, let's see, none of these guys can spot me, so I'm okay. Always scares me in these games, whether somebody will spot me. So, like I said, people were persecuted, legally persecuted by state governments when they should have been protected by federal governments. Nope, not seeing any more apricots. So, let's go back over this way. Hopefully we'll find at least two more just in case. Okay, there's one. So, yeah, there would essentially be state-sponsored persecution of people. And one of the most interesting things that had happened was one of these groups that were being persecuted, legally persecuted by the state, went as far enough to appeal to the government. Went all the way to Washington and talked to the President of the United States, and the President essentially said, well, you know, I'm sorry, this shouldn't be happening to you. I'm paraphrasing, of course. This shouldn't be happening to you, but there's really nothing I can do about this.
I still can't believe that.
And the reason was it would create a massive problem for him to have to go in and make these changes. Okay, there's a guy up there who can spot me, so I'm gonna have to go around a bit. Ugh. Try to get by without him seeing me. Okay, I'm okay at the moment. Now I'm gonna have to go upstairs, and this guy's right there. Ugh, darn his little hide. Okay. So, yeah, I'm gonna wait over here until because I have to go where he's going now. So the state government, basically, yeah, the federal government couldn't enforce its own laws, essentially, with state government. You know, you're probably wondering what this has to do with marijuana and that stuff. Well, legalization of marijuana isn't specific. It's a state law, but under federal law, it is still illegal. Essentially, states are in defiance of federal law. This is something that has not happened since before the Civil War, and yeah, and a lot of it contributed to the events that led to the Civil War. Okay, okay, I'm gonna get in here quickly. Now, if I've done this right, I can feed him.
Sorry, but do I know you?
Okay, they're finding that suspicious. Why are they finding that suspicious?
Fed up with you.
Wait, why is that suspicious?
Our cold security. Hey,
Okay.
hey, turn around.
I'm gonna have to knock these guys out. Oop. I think I accidentally broke his neck. Let's get these guys into a chest. That's really odd that they would find feeding. Okay, so... Right, anyway, so we are now... Totally got confused where I was going there. So now we are basically back in the same position that we were prior to the Civil War. Oh, that guy's coming. Going to climb through here and just stay out here for a second until this guy... He's suspicious. Ugh, very scary. Anyway, we are in a situation, the same sort of situation we were in prior to... Let's see, is he leaving? He's leaving, okay. Prior to the Civil War, we know what happened there. The country was literally at war with itself. Alright. So I'm feeding this monster, okay. Okay, so this makes it, you know, and I don't know what's going to happen, but it is a bit of a concern. I mean, what's going to happen here? Let's see, is that guy coming back anytime soon? Nope, okay. Okay, good. So I've made that thing disappear. Now, where's... Okay, that's not good. He's gonna spot me in a second. Oh, darn it. So. I'm scared. Are you scared? So yeah, we are currently... Many states are in defiance of federal law as... Excuse me. In regards to legalization of marijuana. Now, previously that led to a civil war. And a lot of people seem to, you know, think, oh, the federal law, people aren't going to obey or stick to federal law because, you know, that's just going to open a can of worms and nobody wants that. And to a certain extent you can argue that they are probably correct, but all it takes is one federal agent, with or without proper permission, to arrest somebody under federal law, and we're going to have a massive look at... yeah, we're going to have a massive problem, essentially, with it, and I'm not sure how... It could just be a legal civil war, which would probably be the best outcome, but if it's not, we could actually have a return to violence, which that the Civil War had, which I don't think anybody wants that. So, like I said, we are in an interesting, odd little position here in regards to state defiance of federal law. And to the best of my knowledge, that has not been done in that regard since the Civil War. So, make of that what you will, and this is more of a thinking. I don't have a solution, I don't have a good way out of this. But, you know, I can't help but feel that it's a bit foolish that states would allow federal people, that states would, okay, so we'll pause here for a second, that states would allow their laws to defy federal law because it's basically makes them sitting on a can of worms that could easily open. Best case scenario, if something happens, like, you know, one person's arrested, then it'll be a legal battle as opposed to an actual physical battle. But if it erupts into an actual civil war, that would be bad. So that's kind of what I want to say concerning the defiance of federal law. And now we are going to tell you what happens when you take hallucinogenic drugs and feed strange little devices, people with strange little devices. We escape,
Vroom, vroom, vroom. Ding, ding, ding.
Vroom, vroom. So yeah, that's kind of a fun little, little exit from that particular mission. I'm not even going to look at my score. I'm sure it's not very good, but yeah, let me know what you think of this states-defying federal law in this regard. And really, regardless of whether it's a good thing to legalize marijuana, it does present that problem. So yeah, like and subscribe if you like it. Like and subscribe if you like Agent 47's drug-induced escape from the militia camp. This is, for a pretty straightforward militia camp level, there's some really strange things on this level, I'm just saying. Anyway, I will see you in the next video. Bye.